Alrighty, welcome to the Drivers Only podcast. I am Joe,
I'm David.
and this is episode 110. How are you, David?
Good.
You're just gonna keep rolling with these Kimi Räikkönen introductions.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
There's
fair
nothing interesting going on in my life that anybody would want to hear about.
Nothing with cars. No new car information. Your dad hasn't decided to buy another car randomly.
Not
Without telling
lately.
you?
He's thinking about getting rid of the Challenger.
Okay, I don't blame him.
He wants to get an M2. I'm trying to talk him out of it.
Why?
I don't know, because the thing is he needs a daily driver.
M2's
So
a great daily driver,
I know.
dude. The M2 is one of the best cars I've driven.
I
haven't driven a ton of.
It's not
really
an
nice
M
cars.
car though.
In what sense?
It's not a proper M car
Why?
because it's not. It doesn't have a proper M engine.
You mean it doesn't have like an exclusive engine to its
Yeah,
own chassis?
It's just an N55.
It's still. I mean,
It's a good engine. It's a good car.
It's
But
a great car.
it's not an M
The
car.
power delivery is phenomenal. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So Jill's dad has this.
Yeah. No,
So
it's all true.
the shift lever is the best BMW shift lever I've ever felt in my entire life because normally they feel like complete ass. So it feels phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good.
Yeah.
The sport exhaust, by the way, if he does buy one with the sport exhaust.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of droney,
Really?
just a little bit.
Like the one with the carbon, like the M Performance one, or
Yeah.
just this?
Yep.
Oh,
No, the M Performance one.
doesn't it have those carbon tips?
Mm-hmm.
It bugs me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite thing ever.
It
but
bugs
it's
me
not-
a lot.
That's what you're going to go with to avoid that sound? I mean, even, dude, valves closed, it sounds good. Valved open, unreal. Sounds so good.
I don't know. I just feel like there's got to be something better. Like, would you rather an M2, because they're pretty expensive right now, a new M2 or a slightly used 991?
Well, I don't think that I have to answer this question for you because I think you probably know what I would rather have.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to push him toward, because the whole thing he's
But
gonna
he has
get.
a Boxster.
He's gonna get rid of that.
So he's getting rid of both, and he's looking to buy some. So he's going to take two cars
Well,
and consolidate it down to one
I have
car.
finally broken him and convinced him that storing cars in your neighbor's garage is not a good thing to do.
His neighbors don't charge him for it?
I guess, but it's still bad. It's stupid. One car for now. I told him once you get a place where you know, because they're gonna be moving out of there soon. And then once you get a place with a big garage, big driveway, have as many cars as you want.
So how many is he up to at this point? Got the Challenger and the Boxster.
Yep.
The Camaro and the Chevelle.
Yep.
What does your mom drive?
GTI.
And the Z.
Yep.
So that's 6.
Yeah.
But for 2 people.
There's a slight problem.
No, it's not.
It's
no.
a single car garage, by the way.
Yeah, it is. So, I forgot about. So the Challenger and the Chevelle are in one neighbor's garage, right?
The Camaro's in a
Or
garage.
that's what I meant.
Yeah, the Camaro is, and so is the Porsche. The Chevelle's in storage. The Z's in the garage. The Challenger's in the neighbor's driveway, and my mom's in the driveway.
Okay. Because there was a period of time where you were storing two different sets of cars in two different neighbors' driveways or neighbors' garages, right? You were using 2 neighbors' garages plus your own.
Yeah.
It's nice living in a neighborhood.
I
where
wasn't.
No, I'm not blaming you.
I've been telling him it's a bad idea, and he needs to condense these things, but I feel like I'm making progress, so. Because here's the thing, he can consolidate all these cars and get something really nice to daily, and then, you know, once he gets the house, he can do whatever he wants.
Right,
Go crazy,
right,
go
right.
nuts, you know?
Yeah, as long as the Chevelle and the Camaro don't go away, I don't really care what else goes away.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I don't think you would, but I want you to get the Z before it goes away.
Yeah.
Are you still wanting the Z?
Yeah, the Z's awesome. I haven't driven in a while. I'm trying to block every thing that I sort of look forward to right now because we're getting to the closing stages of buying the house and closing on it.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of like worst case scenario mode right now, and I'm
Yep.
trying not to get excited about anything.
Right. It's understandable.
Yeah, I'll probably end up storing that at the very least, even if I don't take it over. But yeah, I might end up dailying it. or
that
what.
sounds like a best case scenario,
Well, yeah, but
with the exception of you having to make the payments on the Mazda still.
that's the thing that I need to figure out. It's not with the Z. It's figuring out what to do with the Mazda, because I don't know if I should keep it and use it as like the Z is going to be reliable, but would I take it on a cross country road trip?
Cross country, no, probably not. But let's say we all want to drive up to Grid Life or
Like in
Road
Atlanta.
or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, you driving up. That's a 8 to 10 hour trip. You take the Z.
Maybe.
I would take the
I
Cayman.
think so. I mean, I haven't driven the car that much, so I don't trust it right now. But, once I fix all the issues, because it just got a new battery, and once I got to mess with the suspension, and after that, it should be fine. Maybe do some normal service to it, and it should be good to go. Those cars are pretty reliable, so I'm not too worried about it. But I still like the idea of the Miata, because it's sort of like any sort of
But you
really
wouldn't take
modern
that-
car. It's
you
like
wouldn't take-
hyper reliable.
Well, yeah, in that sense. But you wouldn't take that across the country before you took the Z, would you?
Well-
I mean, with the exception of reliability.
I would if I was by myself, but I would not like if I was going with Katie or something, because it's so unbearably loud on the inside that I'm fine driving it. Like, it bugs me, but I'm fine to drive it. It's talking to somebody while you're on the highway because you have to shout and struggling to hear them while they're talking. So I don't know. But I like the car. I took I pulled the muffler off it 2 days ago because I was bored.
Which one? The Z?
The Mazda.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Which isn't it incredibly easy and actually kind of dumps behind your axle anyway?
yeah, it dumps behind the axle, but it points up, or there's a bend where it goes up. But there's a heat shield there, so it's fine. But
So it's not blowing on anything other than the underside of your car.
yeah.
Okay.
But and I drove it around. It drones really bad like that. But I wanted to have fun with the car and try to, because I've been driving it so much to work and getting annoyed, with traffic and stuff, that I just wanted to enjoy it a little bit. And it helped, and I feel like, that, and then that gets my mind thinking, oh, well, maybe if I put some coilovers on it and do some other things, it could be a really good car and be way cheaper than building the K20 Miata. But then I'm like, but would it be way cheaper? Because paying so much a month, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Adulting, it sucks.
I
doesn't
know,
it? Yeah.
I know. Why can't it just be easy?
Yeah. Why can't these decisions be like they were when we were 15, 16, 17, 18?
Yeah.
No, I understand.
And the other thing,
Damn it. I'm sorry I hit the mic again.
I really want to build a car. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but there is part of me that thinks about how long it's going to take and if I'm willing to wait that long, I know eventually it'd be worth it, but I have this fear that what if you finish it and then you immediately sell it like most people do with their project cars? And so it's 5-6 years of building this perfect car just to go, oh, I got to sell it now,
That'll depend entirely on your kid situation and what your significant other says.
Exactly. But still, it's just that the thought of that, I'm like, ugh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like having things now,
Right.
and enjoying them now. And, the Miata would be way better when it was done
Yep.
than the MX-5, but it's a little risky.
No, I understand.
So,
I get what you're saying.
but I'm all kinds of confused right now. And then I'm like, well, because there's so many possibilities having a garage and having multiple cars that I really don't know what to do.
Yeah. No, trust me, I know. See, the problem is you don't have a garage yet, so you have that restriction at the moment.
Yeah.
I have a garage.
So why haven't you bought a 944?
It's-
Why haven't you bought a Del Sol?
Well, no. It's not that I wouldn't buy a Del Sol. I'm not buying a Del Sol until I get a awesome 944.
That's okay. I see what you're saying.
944 gets done first.
But
I mean, it's I know what you're saying. It's one of those things. And the reason I haven't bought the 944 is because there's this thing called a wedding that you have to pay for, and it's very expensive. So
could elope.
Well, yes, I could.
I'm just saying.
You need two parties to agree with that, and I'm not sure the other one would agree to that one.
Okay.
But no, it's I know what you're saying. It's one of those things where you really, really want to try and give yourself the best position you possibly can with your car decision making.
Mm-hmm.
But then your irrationality comes in and you're just like, I want to try this, or I want to do this, or, it's the whole like 16-year-old mentality where it's like, I'll have one of those.
Yeah.
It's like,
And then 3
Yes.
months later, you go, oh, well, maybe I actually want one of these, you know? And you don't want that to happen.
yeah.
And especially me, because I have a history of trading out cars within like a year or two. And the idea of 5-year project car, you know, that's a bit of a stretch for me. I have literally never held on to a car longer than like 2 years.
Well, I think the big issue, and this is easy for me to say, is I have never had a project car. Well, yeah, I've never technically had a project car. I've had a car that is a project.
Yeah, when it's your only car, I don't think it counts.
I've had 3 cars that are projects, but
Yeah.
I've never had a project car.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say is, when the car, and I think I can still say this with a sense of like trustworthiness from our listeners, because it's the same thing when your car is a project. When you get it running and you drive it, all of the faults and stuff like that kind of get set aside, because
Mm-hmm.
you're really you're in your happy place now. And I think a big mistake a lot of people make when building a project car is that they don't actually take the time to get the car running first.
Mm.
They do body work, they do paint, they get wheels, they get tires, they do interior, they mess with the engine, all that stuff. They get
Who are you
everything.
talking about?
Definitely not Drake. Definitely not Drake. But no, it's not even just him. It's not every single one of his cars either. He's done some the right way. You know, like the Subaru he had running at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
He was working on it constantly, messing with it. But when it was running, he absolutely loved it. And that's what I'm saying is, if you can get yourself in the mentality where, okay, I've got my car running now, I just got to keep pushing and get a little bit more done, a little bit. But you give yourself that taste. It's just it's just that little drop of hope.
Motivation.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing, because I look at Drake and his 911, and I think, how long's he
Which
had that?
one?
How long's he had that now?
Not as long as the E36.
No? Oh, that's true. That's been there forever. But I look at that and I go, you know, I'm sure it's really cool. And the other thing is, like, Drake is a mechanically savvy person.
With a shop
Yeah.
at his disposal.
I am not. And the fact that Drake is still dealing with issues and fixing things, and, you know, he still hasn't really properly driven that car yet. I mean, the idea of that, and I go, and I expect to do a full engine swap build and all this other stuff in a Miata, you know, it's like, maybe that's a bad idea, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying, but
It's a good idea, but at the same time, I'm just saying that I don't. Maybe there's another way to reach that same goal.
the one thing to say about Drake's situation versus your situation is, you have to walk out to your garage to work on your project car. He has to drive across town to go work on his project car.
Yeah.
So he has to get the motivation. It's like working out.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a home gym, you'd work out every day.
Yeah.
If you don't have a home gym, you're like, man, I don't want to drive that far, because that's your barrier.
Yeah.
That's your excuse. It's not necessarily the workout. It's like, I don't want to go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's you know, that's one thing. If it was in his garage, which it has been recently, and that's where he's gotten most of the work done, it seems like,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine. That's a different story. But
Yeah. But then, you know, you think about other things. You're like, well, maybe it's not. Maybe I should get something that's not about the end result. Maybe just get something that I just want to own.
mm-hmm.
You know, something like a 911 or an old Alpha, or, you know, muscle car maybe. But, you know, something like that where you're just like, I'm just happy that it's even in the garage, because that's just cool.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that's a little more worth it, but
Yeah, I mean, like if you're, it's almost like if your dad's Camaro wasn't in such good shape,
mm-hmm.
that would be fun to have in the garage. 'Cause
Yeah.
you could mess around and toy with it a little bit, try and get the carbs right, try and get all this stuff
Yeah.
tuned
Well,
in
that
perfectly, and that's where
yeah.
that's I think what you're effectively saying is that would be more fun than trying to go on a full build.
Yeah, sort
I
of.
would rather restore the outside of a car. As much as I hate doing body work and electrical work and interior work and stuff, that's my least favorite to
Yeah.
do. Engine work is most fun. That's probably the most rewarding, because it's the most.
Because you step back and go, ha, that looks great.
Yeah, and it's the tough. The hard part is the engine work. that's not necessarily more difficult than bodywork or more laborious than paintwork or anything like that. But it's at the very least, it's the thing that you got to get the wires right, you got to get the tuning right, you got to get all the parts right. It's the most expensive part, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, as a whole, generally it's the most difficult part, and difficult may not be the proper word to use.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you understand what I'm saying. It's like if you could get one that's running, you're like, all right, that's a big step done.
Yeah, it's like half the battle. From there,
Because you can drive it looking like crap.
yeah, and that's the thing is I feel like it would be much easier to refine something than to totally rework it.
Yeah, but that's why cars that are running are more expensive than cars that are not.
Of course. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, trust me. I mean, it's like I would love to get another 944, as I've said before, but finding a running 944 for the budget that I'm in right now, it's not easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, I would love a turbo, which good luck.
Yeah, and the other thing is I'm not necessarily in it for the Miata itself building that car. I'd be in it more for the experience. Something really light, tight, and just
That's why I want
quick.
to build a cart still.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, I want the kart sensation in a proper car.
You should check the neighborhood, because your neighborhood's giant.
Okay.
You know how much fun a go-kart would be in there?
I would no.
It doesn't have to be loud. You could do an electric
No, I
one.
know, but I wouldn't. I'd rather go karting, like proper karting.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can have fun still. Like half the time you can go karting, and then
Yeah.
another time you'd be like, I just want to go for a drive. I'm going to go drive around the neighborhood.
In like a shifter cart.
Sure. But you could put a big muffler on it, make it quiet so it's not
Mm-hmm.
blasting out your neighbors, but it's still loads of fun.
I would love to go down to like the pool.
You should get a plate that says, this is legal. Your license plate could read, this is legal.
Yeah, and I'll just drive under Hummers and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Under the gate.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes David again. But no, I know what you're saying, and I know what you're saying about trying to convince your dad too. My dad and I are headed up to Michigan about a month from now to go watch one of the football games, and my mom wants a new car really badly because she's sick and tired of her Pilot, which I don't blame her because it's a terrible vehicle.
Okay.
And my dad has been wanting a Cayenne forever. So my mom, being my mom and being a smart married woman for 30 some odd years, goes, Frank, I would love a Cayenne. You can buy me a Cayenne and drive it up to Michigan with Joe for the football game. So now my dad's looking to try and find a Cayenne somewhere.
Wait, what year?
That's the thing, is he doesn't care too much. He doesn't actually have a problem with the body styles as much as most people.
Were the early ones pretty unreliable though?
Not always, no. Some of them were. Some of them had like electrical issues and stuff like that, but others were pretty damn good. He would love a turbo, but they're hard to find in the right kind of price range.
Yeah.
I found, dude, pornographically good. It was a 2014 in it, not Guards red. It looked closer to like Tornado red.
Almost like was it a GTS?
It was a Cayenne diesel with 50,000 miles for 30 grand.
Diesel. What engine? Like what?
It's a V6 diesel with
V6.
like 280 horsepower, but like 460 pounds-feet of torque or something like that.
You should get a 6-speed Cayenne.
Those are almost impossible to find and very expensive, and I don't
Really?
think my mom would want that. It's not. This isn't
It'd
for
be
me.
cool though.
It would be awesome, but this isn't for me. I would love a 6-speed Cayenne. I would daily a 6-speed Cayenne every day of the week. Sounds
I
like
can
a great
see that. That would be the most hipster car in the world.
thing.
Especially if it was especially the diesel.
No, because hipsters love the environment, and they're going to bitch and complain about the diesel being bad for the environment, even though it's actually more beneficial.
Is that a thing? Hipsters are like that?
Hipsters love the environment.
Okay.
I think.
I
That's
don't know.
I don't. You guys are always the ones that call me a hipster. I'm not a hipster. I'm a contrarian. There's a difference.
That's true. Actually, that's true. That's very true.
But nonetheless, let's get into some car news. We'll talk about Formula One really quickly. Singapore happened. Lewis Hamilton won. He did a really fast pole. Verstappen came in second. Vettel came in third. Perez drove like an asshole. Sorokin's really, really slow. And there you go. That's done. Now, moving on. You didn't have
That was
anything
a
else to add,
proper
right?
summary.
Yeah, you didn't have anything else to add, do you?
No, I really like that Sorokin part, though.
He was incredibly slow.
He was so in the way all the time.
Dude, all right.
Every-
Did you,
and he was dead last.
he was dead last. By the way, he was dead last. And Perez got a penalty.
Yeah.
I think someone else got a penalty as well. And Sorokin was still dead last and found a way to get a 5-second penalty for trying to drive Hartley into the barrier.
But it's amazing to me. So I know we've talked about this before, but how can someone be dead last and like continue to race time and time again? Like at a certain point, you have to say, you know what? This just isn't fun. Everybody's flying past me. I'm basically a hazard out here. Why do it? Why? You're just in the way. That can't be fun.
I'll give you a name. Rio Harriento.
Who's that?
He was the one that drove for Manor for like a couple of races, but was really, really, really dead last. He was the Filipino or Thai driver or something like that a year or two ago. Completely useless. Bought his seat, drove for less than a year, and then decided that this wasn't for him.
I respect that. But, I mean, that's what I'm saying. At a certain point, you have to go, you know what? This is not working.
I would love to see more people like Davide Valsecchi do what he did.
What?
He's the announcer for Formula 2. He's the Italian guy that talks really, really quickly and shouts at everything and is awesome because he's very Italian. But he was driving in, I want to say it was GP2, and he found out that there was just really no way he was ever going to get to Formula 1, and he didn't want to be a career GP2 driver, so he just pulled out. He's like, no, I'll do announcing.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Especially because he has a ton of knowledge.
Yeah.
But he's also exceptionally entertaining. Those of you that don't remember his name, Davide Valsecchi, you've got to look him up. He I would love to have him and Kimmy in a booth together to comment to do commentary on a race. Excuse me.
He'd be going nuts, and Kimmy, I feel like he would ask Kimmy a question. Kimmy go, yeah.
But the thing is, he'd be so okay with taking back over the conversation. But anyway, we do have some news involving a team that's in Formula One, but not actually the Formula One aspect of said team. The Ferrari Monza SP1 and SP2 Roadsters put 800 horsepower and wind in your face. These limited edition models are just the start of something bigger. An article by Andrew Kroc on Roadshow by CNET. In order to go forward, Ferrari is looking back at adapting the style of its old-school race cars to create a limited edition series of supercars that will have you mapping out which banks you'll need to rob in order to afford them. Ferrari today unveiled the Monza SP1 and SP2 Roadsters. The cars were built with the collectors and hardcore Ferrari fans in mind. Their low-slung, windshield-free bodies are stylistic throwbacks to Ferrari's post-war race cars like the 166M. The SP1 has just a single seat, whereas the SP2 offers its open-air experience to both a driver and a passenger. It's a fresh take on the idea of a limited-run vehicle compared with something like the McLaren Senna, which has a variety of wonky shapes that make you wonder if McLaren's designers aren't just engineers wearing fake mustaches. Ferrari's new Roadsters are sleek and prioritize form over function, but it's not like there isn't a whole lot of function still. Both cars can rely on the same powertrain, a V12 gas engine that puts out about 800 horsepower. The SP1 and SP2 should both complete the sprint to 62 miles an hour, that's 0 to 60 kph, isn't it?
Yep.
In just 2.9 seconds, which puts them into hypercar performance territory. Some of that performance is thanks to the car's low curb weights, which comes from Ferrari's reliance on carbon fiber body panels. The SP1 weighs just 3,306 pounds. I didn't realize it was that heavy. I mean, it looks big, but...
Big stinking V12 in the front.
Yeah, that's true. And the extra seat in the SP2 adds just 45 pounds to that number. Of course, Ferrari doesn't want the SP1s and SP2 prospective owners to drive these cars. It wants them to live the vintage experience. That's why the automaker teamed up with Laura Piana and Berluti to create apparel accessories.
What?
to throw it back just as much as the cars do. Owners will be able to stock up on racing overalls, helmets, scarves, gloves, and shoes to complete the vintage aesthetic. The SP1 and SP2 are just the start for Ferrari. The company says that this is the pair this pair is the first inclusion of a new segment Ferrari calls Icona, which draws inspirations from the 1950s Ferraris. We'll take them all, please.
I know we
Thoughts?
laugh. I know we laugh at the idea of some rich person wearing that stuff. There are people out there who would die for that. They're-
Okay, be honest.
they
with
exist.
Me. Be honest with me.
Yeah.
If you're driving this car,
Oh, I would.
you would.
I would, but I would do it ironically. People out there would
There's
take
no way
it
to-
seriously.
There's no way to tell that you're doing it ironically, though. It's let's say two people pull up in these in at the stoplight, and they're both wearing it. The only reason you would know that the guy wearing it ironically is the guy wearing it ironically is because it would be you staring gleefully at somebody else staring back at you,
Yeah.
whereas the other guy would be just a little serious faced, but
Yeah.
probably still pretty happy.
Yeah. But no. I'm
But
just.
when you're driving down the road and you're trying not to swallow bees whole,
Yeah. Yeah.
you both look the same.
Oh, I understand that. I'm just saying that.
I would wear it. I don't think that you can say that I would do it better because I wouldn't do it seriously. It's like, come on.
No.
It doesn't matter.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we mock the person like that would wear that, but I'm saying that there are people out there who like take that seriously.
Well, this is true, yeah.
Yeah. But I think personally the cars are fantastic.
They are very pretty.
They're very refreshing.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah, I'm like, wow, just a cool shape. Not
Well, not
1,000 shapes in one design.
Not to mention, it's an 800 horsepower V12.
Oh, I know. It must be a crazy machine.
But
I
it's
assume
a
that-
naturally aspirated. It's not a turbo V8.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love it's so nice to have. I mean, yeah, it's a limited edition car, but
I've said it before, I'm not really a fan of retro designs. But this one's sort of fresh enough, and I think
with the exception of the headlights, I think it's done perfectly. From the back, it's drop dead gorgeous.
oh yeah, they just look beautiful. It's just a classic shape in roadster form, and it's just
I just can't believe it weighs that much. No, so here's the question.
What?
Would you SP1 or SP2?
one.
Okay. Reason.
I thought about, I'm like, would I take people for rides in it? I would, but I wouldn't enjoy it as much. It's just a machine to drive, and I say screw the passengers.
Okay. So I agree with you in that sense. I love the driver focus of the SP1,
Yeah.
but the SP2 is better looking.
Oh, yeah,
The
I
symmetry of the
agree.
SP2
yeah,
is just it's a way better looking vehicle, and at the end of the day, that's why I want the SP2.
Okay.
It is stunning.
Yeah, fair enough.
Stunning. Oh god. There's this picture here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the taillight, too.
Yes. Yeah, it's apparently they may not be able to be sold in America. I saw something. I didn't actually read into it, but I saw a tweet or something. I don't remember offhand what it was. I just passed by it and didn't really think to stop and look at it. But apparently the taillights, because of their specifications, may not actually be able to have the car be legal for American roads
Because of the taillight?
because of the taillights. Yeah. So we'll find out. I don't know how true that is. I don't remember the source or anything like that. I do remember scrolling by it though and seeing somebody say something about the taillights. But wait a minute, did I just see that these are these McLaren doors? What? Why did it do that? I'm gonna go. How do I go? There we go. Look,
That-
I think that's a McLaren door.
Looks like it.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I like those doors
Why?
because they're stupid.
Okay.
Do I need a better reason?
No, fair. That's a fair
I
answer.
don't know. I don't know why I like it better, but I don't know.
I just
I think on
think
that car it makes sense. Kind
Yeah.
of the same way on a McLaren it does. It's just like, why not? Go for
yeah.
it.
No, I understand. It's just I just hope future Ferraris follow this same design concept and keep it simple instead of going crazy with all these shapes and aerodynamics and stuff. People just want a cool looking car. That's all. That's all anybody wants. You know, performance is one thing, but I think there's a way to do aerodynamics properly in a way that looks cool. You know, and Ferrari historically has done a pretty good job because they're against the whole just putting a rear wing on the back, and they do it other ways
Yeah.
to get the downforce out of the car versus Porsche, who just put a big wing on the back.
Yeah, but it kind of fits their like GT3 style of it.
Yeah, yeah. And but I just, you know, I mentioned it before, and if I had to choose one car to go on like some big road trip on, and you know, drive some cool roads, go to cool places, it's really difficult for me to decide. And I always come back to it has to be good looking, has to sound good, and be reasonably comfortable. And the more I think about it, if I had the money, I would totally buy a front-engine GT Ferrari. It'd be fantastic.
Honestly, after seeing this and hearing about it, and with the exception, it's going to depend almost entirely on how well it handles its weight. Because if it handles its weight well,
It's not that much weight.
it's 3,300 pounds.
How spoiled are you?
I have
That's-
2,700 pounds in the garage.
Yeah, that's not 3,300
But
pounds. That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. But for a 2-seat roadster, that's a lot.
It's big though. They're big
They are.
cars.
So, but if it handles its weight well, you know, if it drives well, which I'm sure it does, but if it handles its weight well, why the hell would you not want this to go canyon carving or something like that?
Oh no, I totally
I mean,
would.
this
totally.
this is the perfect damn car, a giant V12,
You cannot
convertible.
have more of an occasion.
carbon fiber everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. I'm glad to see. It's just okay. Anyway, let's talk about some more things that you might take on canyon roads.
Okay.
We have 10 of the best cheap mid-engine sports cars by Brian Silvestro at Road and Track. We do one of these things almost every week, it seems, but
They're
we got a
fun.
new one.
They're fun to judge the
like it.
choices that they
Like
make.
it. I need to turn this a little bit so you can't
I
cheat.
can't. Oh, okay.
I think it's better if you don't cheat, don't you?
Okay.
Or do you want to cheat?
I don't know.
What do you prefer?
Oh, am I supposed to guess the car?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of like.
Oh,
seeing
you
your
just like the
genuine
reaction?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So, first one on the list, Lotus Esprit. The Lotus
Wait.
Esprit was built for nearly 30 years, which means there are plenty of different versions
Like
to choose
V8
from.
twin turbo Esprit or
The Lotus Esprit was built for nearly 30 years, which means there are plenty of different versions to choose from.
okay. They should really pick a specific model.
Some are more expensive than others, but the cheap ones can be had for well under $30,000.
The cheap ones suck.
But this is 10 of the best cheap mid-engine sports cars. That's what they're
Okay,
claiming.
all right.
Okay.
Lotus Elise better be on here then.
Wow. This is what they're going with. Number 2 on the list, the Honda Beat. The Honda Beat is a K-car convertible offered only in Japan when new. It's now old enough for it to be imported into the United States, which means enthusiasts here have another choice for an affordable midship fun. The engine is a tiny 3-cylinder with 9,000 RPM redline. This one's on eBay right now for $5,800. No.
No, I agree. No.
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 Okay. Number 3 on the list, Mazda AutoZam AZ1 or Suzuki Kara. Now that the AZ1 is eligible for import into the United States, it has become highly desirable. The car's mid-engine layout and gull-wing doors, combined with its tiny footprint, make it a joy to drive. Prices are hovering around $10,000 to $15,000 right now, but expect those numbers to climb over time. This one can be yours for just under $13,000.
I admit they're cool, but I would not recommend one. No, not for this. What was the title of this? Best cheap mid-engine sports cars? No.
No.
Fun car. It's a novelty car. It's not a sports car.
Okay, you'll agree with this one. Toyota MR2, number 4.
Yes, waiting for
Of
that.
course, the MR2 is on the list. Go on Craigslist anywhere, and odds are you'll find one for about the same price as an old Miata. Plus, thanks to Toyota's reliability, you won't have to worry about dumping money into it to keep it on the road.
Well,
The first gen example is just $5,700 right now on eBay.
I would like to get a nice AW11 supercharged version.
Yeah.
Make it like a little Lancia Stratos.
Pontiac Fiero.
Don't even read the description. Go to the next.
Here's the first
There's
sentence.
nothing that can be
The
said.
first sentence. Okay, hear us out.
No.
The Fiero might not be known for its driving attributes, but there's not a ton cheaper.
What?
that you can-
Stop right there. I want you to read that sentence again.
Wait, should I read the title of the article first?
Yes.
Okay, 10 of the best cheap mid-engine sports cars.
Let's quickly define sports car. A car driven for it.
Driven by enthusiasts for enthusiasts.
Yeah, and what is it? It's for enjoyment, right? Right? Okay, now read that sentence.
The Fiero might not be known for its driving attributes, but there's not a ton there's not a ton cheaper you can buy that has its engine mounted in the middle. Plus, it looks pretty cool. This white one's in perfect condition for sale for just under $10,000.
I have no words.
I'm pretty sure they just said that the MR2 on the last page was $5,700.
Yeah, I don't know who would buy who's buying these things for that much.
Don't know. Number 6 on the list, Fiat X19.
Yeah.
Fiat X19s are getting harder and harder to come by nowadays, but running
I
and driving
realize-
examples can still be found for less than $10,000 if you know where to look. For a mid-engine Bertoni design, Targa Top Classic, that sounds like a deal to us. This one can be yours for just $5,450.
I realize I'm being hypocritical by praising this car, but it's kind of cool.
This is just all this car says is I should have bought a 914.
Speaking of, the 914 better be on this list.
The Ferrari 348. Best cheap. The best
We're pushing it here.
The best cheap. Hey,
They're like 50 grand, I think.
the 348 is one of the cheapest used Ferraris you can buy. It's certainly not the most iconic car to come from Maranello, but it's still a mid-engine Ferrari after all. That means that the gated manual transmission and the V8 behind the passenger compartment. This one is on eBay right now for an absurd $25,000.
That's not a good buy.
I
I would not advise that.
I'm looking at the photos right now.
Is it good or bad?
The exterior looks good. See, the problem with Ferrari is there's a thing in the back of it that makes the car go, and that doesn't usually last very well when it was built in the 80s or 90s.
That's really cheap. How many miles?
Odometer check. Okay. There we go. 58,560.
It's decent miles on a Ferrari.
Yeah, but isn't it every 25,000 miles you're supposed to rebuild the engine?
Supposed to.
Okay.
No, not like a full rebuild, but you need like an engine out service, change all the belts,
But it's
everything.
a ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think the odds are that that car hasn't had its second
Oh
service
yeah,
yet?
no, for sure. That's like like when you go to sell a Ferrari, you have to do that stuff, and then you say, "Oh, it's had all its services done, so
Yeah.
you're good for a little bit."
Relocating must go. Rosso red saddle tan. XOS catback exhaust looks and drives and sounds amazing. Purchase includes all new wheels with tires and lugs, extensive records, well maintained, major service at 43,000 miles. So he's driven 15 on that major service. Please call in for details or schedule a visit located in Pittsboro, Indiana.
Interesting.
Wonder what the underside looks like. Anyway, still, that's hard to... Best cheap mid-engine sports cars for 25 grand.
Yeah, you're really pushing it there. I mean, it's an interesting choice, but
Okay, there are 3 spots left, by the way.
914.
Haven't heard of 914. Have not heard of Boxster yet.
Yeah,
Haven't
Boxster
heard
or
of Cayman,
Cayman.
which you could probably include the two of them unless you're touching on the 986 Boxster.
Lotus Elise.
There's
That's like the king of the cheap mid-engine car.
there's been one Lotus and it wasn't a good one.
Yeah.
Porsche 914.
Okay.
For the longest time, no one wanted to own a 914.
Still don't.
I do. The polarizing looks used to scare people away, but these days collectors are paying close to 6 figures for the 6-cylinder examples with the wide body. That is a big caveat that needs to be on there. No one is paying for the 6-cylinder.
They're pretty
narrows.
rare with the wide bodies, right?
Right. Very rare with the wide bodies. The narrow bodies, if they're up at 6 figures, then usually somebody's just asking that. The cheaper, slower 1.8 liter 4-cylinder model can still be had for relatively little money, though. This white
Yeah, I
one's
don't know
up for
about
bidding
that.
right now.
They're pretty expensive.
They have skyrocketed in price along with the rest of the Porsche bubble. There's one here. Reserve has not been met. Current bid is at $5,000 with 2 days left on bidding.
It's gonna go up.
Yeah, it'll probably get up to the 13, 14 mark somewhere in there. That's usually what they sell
Is it
for.
even nice?
Okay. That one didn't look great. Porsche Boxster 986. Well,
90. What?
They're probably going to include the Cayman and Boxster 987 next because it is the same car. One's a convertible, one's not. Let's calm down. We haven't gotten there yet. While people have warmed to the looks of the 914, the same can't be said of the 986 generation.
Never
Used
will.
examples with some mileage can easily be had for under 10 grand, and for that, you can get a super capable mid-engine track car right out of the box. There's one on eBay right now for just $8,100. You can find these 986s on Craigslist,
Or
like
like
beat.
$5,000 or
Yeah,
less.
for $5,000.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. This is 944 money.
Yeah, they're just ugly and slow.
Yeah, but dude, come on. If we go back to the day that I was buying my first 944, and we found a Boxster for the same price, it'd be tough. They're-
I'll tell you
they're
what.
really light. The 986 is really light.
I have warmed to the idea of a 996. Okay, I will admit.
Yeah,
But the 986,
less so, but I've still warmed to it. What about it don't you like? Because if you say headlights, I'm just gonna break your leg. Because no one likes the headlights.
the headlights,
That's like-
the taillights,
That's
everything in
literally-
between the headlights and the taillights.
Okay, so you don't like the looks of the car.
It's
Because
if the
that's like-
987 didn't exist, it wouldn't be so bad, I guess. But the 987 is just so much better in every way.
yeah, it is. But if you have a $5,000 986 or a 17, 18 grand 987,
But I would take my $5,000 elsewhere.
I don't know about that. That might be the best car you can get as a sports car for $5,000. What are you gonna
For
get
like
that's better?
2 months, and then it's a money pit.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. Why would it be a money pit?
Engine issues?
Well, that depends on whether or not the IMS bearing has been changed. If the IMS bearing has been changed and it's a high mileage $5,000 986, I'll take that over a Miata.
I don't like the idea of a car that if I blow the engine, the car's totaled.
That's every car except the Miata.
But you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you're trying to say. I don't necessarily agree with you. Number 10 on the list, Porsche Cayman 987. If you'd rather not have a convertible experience, high mileage first-gen Caymans are starting to creep below the $20,000 mark. What is considered high mileage?
what did he said? High mileage?
High mileage ones, high mileage first-generation Caymans are starting to creep below the $20,000 mark. So I don't know if I ever said this on the podcast, but I don't really care anymore because I've had the car for 2 years. I paid $20,000 for my Cayman.
I thought it was 17.
No, it was $20,000. The other one the black one that I was looking at that was higher mileage was 17.
Okay.
The one that I bought was $20,000. It had 63,000 miles on it. I would not consider that a high mileage car.
60 grand?
Yeah, 63,000 miles on it.
No. For me, high miles is when you're going 80 to 100.
Right, I agree.
I mean, that's like
I would say it's 60 grand is mid miles,
yeah.
and like I said, that's 20,000.
Yeah, because
and
to
that's
me,
a Florida car.
low miles are anything under 40, and then I'd say 40 to 80 is like sort of in between, and then anything above that's high miles.
Yeah, I agree. I think my car has moved into high miles. I'm now at 86,000 miles on it.
Damn.
It's crazy, isn't it? Doesn't feel like it. But then again, you've tacked on almost 30 on yours, haven't you?
I'm about to hit 30, yeah.
Jesus. You drive a lot more than I do. But you're getting a driving experience worth triple that. This white one can be had for just 17 grand. What? Oh, God. So good looking.
Tan interior?
Yeah, of course it is. I don't think they did a white on black.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But the white Cayman is very good looking.
I'm disappointed there's no Lotus.
I can't. Well, there
Release.
is.
Well,
There's just the wrong one.
Yeah, the worst one.
There's a whole bunch of other Lotuses that you could have picked. You know what the worst thing about this tan interior is now that I'm looking at it?
That's tan.
No, because the tan's not that bad. It's the gray center console. It's still the silver.
What?
Yeah, it's still the center.
Ew.
Silver. Yeah, that's how they
Ew.
all are.
Why doesn't it match everything else that's like that black?
I don't know, but wouldn't it?
or
I
is-
mean, I think it'd be a good looking interior if it was just tan or black. I mean, black would be
Black
okay.
black would be better.
But if it was all tan, I mean,
You could probably change that though.
I'm sure you could. This whole panel here, both these panels pop clean off. They're plastic outlines. All the buttons stay in place, so you could paint it. I've thought about taking mine off and painting it.
Let me see the outside of that car. That's nice.
They're very good looking.
Is that an S?
No.
It's got the S wheels.
Yeah, it's got the lobster claws. when I believe I don't remember if I'm correct or not in saying this, but I believe if I remember correctly, you can purchase when you were buying these brand new, you could purchase upgraded wheels, and you had your selection of any of the S wheels.
Probably. I don't doubt it.
So that's why when they say premium wheel package, it was, like whoever purchased my car bought those wheels out there.
Mm-hmm.
You could buy the lobster claws. You could have bought the turbo twists, stuff like that.
Interesting. I'm trying to think if there's any other mid-engine cars.
I think Lotus is where they really missed the ball, because if you're spending $25,000 on a Ferrari, you can spend at least $30,000 on a nice Elise, or even you're almost approaching Exeges at 30.
Yeah.
You can get an Elise for less than that.
Yeah.
And
or even an Evora.
Oh, Evora's all day. Which any single list on the face of the earth that has a Cayman should also have an Evora.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same damn car.
Evora's better looking.
It's close. It's really close.
In the right color.
In the right color. So now here you go. So I would prefer not to buy a Cayman with a tan interior.
Mm-hmm.
I want a red Evora with a tan interior.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's just a great combo. I've seen them before. There was one that used to drive in Sarasota all the time when I was in high school, and it was so good looking. I just have a weird infatuation with that combination now.
This has given me an idea.
Are you going to buy a Lotus now?
I didn't even say it yet. But I was...
Am I wrong?
Well, no, I was just thinking...
Tell me I'm wrong.
I was like, Elises are like $25,000. Wonder if I could trade them.
Well, you could. Yeah, you could.
I
Absolutely.
could.
But do you have any idea? So, one of the guys
Hey,
in the car club has
if I
an
have
Elise,
the
and it is
Z...
immensely small.
Oh, incredibly small. And it's like a bathtub to get in.
Yeah.
But if it's not my daily...
I say get an Evora.
Maybe.
But then again, the Elise is a Targa. So you get that kind of convertible experience,
Yeah,
too.
and it's more serious. It's like super... It's like
I
the
don't-
essence of Miata, but taken seriously.
I don't think I can actually ride with you.
No, you couldn't.
Like I don't
think you could.
It's not like the Miata where it's like, oh, this is really uncomfortable.
Yeah, you would not
I don't
fit.
think I can actually get in the car.
Yeah. I would love to daily...
Don't not purchase it because of me, please.
I would totally daily an Elise.
No, you would daily an Evora.
I'm seeing it now.
David, this is the Mustang all over again.
I have great ideas. Okay?
Yeah, sure you do. Anyway, those of you that want to go follow us on all of our social media, get in contact with us, send us emails, send us questions on all of our forms of social media, please do it. It is Drivers Only USA. Those of you that don't know, our previous episode was uploaded on YouTube. The YouTube page is Drivers Only USA. And this episode will also be uploaded on YouTube. You can go listen there. They will be uploaded tomorrow. We're recording on a Thursday night. So.
Yeah, and we're working on visuals.
Potentially, yes. Yeah,
for the future. We'll see.
Yeah. That's a lot more effort, but
yeah.
You're making promises that
we'll
we're
have
not
to
sure we can
We'll
deliver
have
yet.
to look presentable.
Yeah, I have to put pants on.
Exactly. It's awkward.
You have to put socks on.
Yeah, shirt.
Actually, you have to put on everything except socks. But no, so go follow us on all of our social media. Like I said, it's on YouTube now. So those of you that want to listen to it on YouTube, that'd be great. Please subscribe. And actually, that's the best place to ask us questions, because then as you're listening, if you hear something that you're like, I don't know about that, or you want to make a quick correction, that you can make it on that video. You can put the time mark in there and let us know, hey, I have a question about this. And that's when we can respond the following week. So it's really actually probably the best way for you to keep in touch with us. You can also direct message us on all of our social media. Everything right now is Drivers Only USA on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can subscribe to us on Shout Engine as well. So thank you guys for listening. David, you can end us on a single word.
I'm going to buy a Lotus.